on these big, beautiful mansions. Mama, what is it, Leslie? When I become a man, I'm going to buy you a big, beautiful home just like this. How many have somebody special you'd like to do something for? Raise your hands, please. Very good. I'm going to share with you how I made that happen. And now the next thing is I want you to think about your financial freedom number. What's your financial freedom number? That once you achieve that, it will alleviate a lot of stress in your life. How many like to have more time for yourself? Raise your hands, please. I can tell you, when you are financially free, when you are debt-free, you have more time for yourself. You have more choices. Once you achieve that, it will allow you to travel around the world, to create experiences for yourself and for your family and people that you care about. Allow you to contribute to causes that you believe in. So I want you to think about your financial freedom number. And this is Wesley and I. My mother, she never had any children herself, so she adopted Wesley and I, and then she adopted 5 other kids. Now, which one am I, on your left or your right? Which one am I? I'm the cute one now. Come on. I'm on your left. That's me. I'm on your left. And so she achieved her goal. And this is Wesley and I. We were standing out front of the yard where we lived, a very drug-infested, poverty-stricken area. And the reason I show you this, it's very important for us to know, and most people are not aware, that between the ages of 0 and 5, according to a 26-year exhaustive study by Dr. Martin Seligman from the University of Minnesota, we formulate a word in our heart. And that word is yes, or that word is no. Between 0 and 5, based upon your environment, based upon your circumstances, based upon the story that you're born into, because how we live our lives is a result of the story we believe about ourselves. And so between 0 and 5, we determine what's available to us and what's not available to us. And what is important is what you're doing right now. And that is that most people are not aware of that, and as a result, they're not engaged in a process to begin to restructure what they believe that's available to them, to begin to expand what they see as a part of their reality. And so it took a lot of work for me to begin to expand my vision of myself so that I would be able to generate millions of dollars merely because I could, not for the love of money, but because I'm capable of doing it and capable of making a difference in people's lives, capable of working with people who've been diagnosed with a terminal disease and say to them, because of my experience, I'm a 20-year cancer conqueror, and so I can tell them based upon my experience that they're more powerful than cancer, based upon my experience that they're greater than their circumstances. How many of you have overcome some things in your life? Raise your hands, please. And so what at this stage of my life is teaching people that you don't have to be your story, that you can change that. But most people don't know, and they don't know that they don't know, and they think they know. I did not know that I was able and capable of doing what I'm doing right now. And so I've done some things that just amaze me. And how many of you have ever been in a position where you say, I can't believe this is me? Raise your hands, all right? And so you're going to have a lot of other experiences like that. And that's what has happened to me and continue to happen. And so you have a story. So my first major goal was to buy my mother a home. The next thing is I wanted to achieve financial independence, and I did that. The next thing is I wanted to be able to contribute to make a difference in humanity. How many of you have some cause you believe in? Raise your hands, please. And so my goal now at this stage of my life, you learn, you earn, you pass it on, is teach people how to tell their story and how to make a difference in the lives of other individuals, to give people hope. In the United States, one of the most powerful countries in the world, that is something's wrong, that in the United States, that more people died from suicide last year than from automobile accidents. And so suicide around the world has increased. One of the goals that I have is teach people how to deliver a message that will give people hope. Let us say hope. Hope. And write this down. When there's hope in the future, that gives you power in the present. When there's hope in the future, when you give people hope, that gives you power in the present. When I was coming out of Florida Hospital, and they said to me, Mr. Brown, your PSA, which stands for prostate-specific antigen, your PSA is 2,400. 1 to 4 is normal. And when I was coming out of the hospital, Dr. Julie Van Pudden said, she stopped me and she said, we're going to beat this at the cellular level. And she said it with such a conviction, it jolted me. Now, here's a lady with a PhD in medicine, and integrative medicine, and MD from The Ohio State University. And when she said it with such a spirit of faith and a knowingness, I felt it. And now from that time to this time, my PSA is 0. I'm cancer-free, debt-free, and drama-free. And so there are several things we're going to cover today. I speak this morning, and then there are other presenters, and then I'll speak and close things out this afternoon. I want you to write this down. Mindset resiliency. Mindset resiliency. You're going to need it because you're going to take some hits. Things will happen. The doctor said to me 3 words that no one ever wants to hear. You have cancer. Those 3 words, the most feared word in 7 different languages. He said, you have cancer. I said, can you give me a second opinion? Yes, and you're ugly too. No, he did. No, he did. I got problems. I got issues, all right? Whatever. Yeah, and so the thing is that we have a program that is designed, I'm going to share with you, and write this down, Choosing Your Future. It is designed to fortify your faith and help you to develop mental resiliency, help you handle the hits of life. Think it not strange that you face the fire furnaces of this world. You will, not you might, you will have tribulations. You're going to have some stuff happen to you. Forrest Gump was right. Life is like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get. Stuff's going to happen. How many of you know stuff's going to happen, huh? Right? Yeah, in life, you either in a problem or just left one or headed toward one. And don't ask, why does this have to happen to me? Why not you? Who would you suggest? Want to give us some names? And I would say, yes, Lord, I got names and email addresses. So stuff's going to happen, I can tell you. And it hasn't, just keep on living. I've seen a lot of stuff. And the thing is that most people, they stop when they take those hits. I believe that hits are designed to empower you, for you to discover who you are. Charles Udall, come forth. He said, in life, you will always be faced with a series of God-ordained opportunities, brilliantly disguised as problems and challenges. Everything that you're facing, anything that you're going through right now, it's not there to stop you. It's there to empower you, to introduce you to a part of yourself that you don't know. I discovered Les Brown, a new Les Brown. Once someone looks at you and says that you have a terminal illness, it challenges you. It changes your life. Once you go through some stuff, you begin to discover parts of yourself that you don't know. And so as you think about your goals and dreams, mindset resiliency is major. And when I encourage you to get Choosing Your Future, we'll share with you how you can download that. Here's the next thing that's major, and that is skill set expansion. You want to look for ways in which you can expand your skill set. Just imagine if I was out in the marketplace going around applying for a job at 70. Then I'm putting my future in the hands of somebody else. I'm letting somebody else determine what time I would show up at a place to perform a duty, have to get permission for how long I can go to lunch, and get permission of when I can go on vacation. And so somebody else is controlling my destiny. But when you take the time to invest in your time and your energy to expand your skill set, to expand your value, and that's what it is. You don't get paid by the hour, you get paid for the value you bring to the hour. And all of you here, I don't know you, but I know what I know about you. Because you're in this room, you're not mentally fit to work for somebody for the rest of your life.
That's right. That's right.
If you were, you wouldn't be in this room. There's something about you that says, I'm to control my destiny. There's something about you that I want to live a more expanded life. Dr. Howard Thurman, come forth. He said, there's something in each and every one of you that waits and listens to the voice of the genuine in yourself. And if you cannot hear it all of your life, your days will be spent on the ends of strings that somebody else pulls. You got up this morning, you came early because you know that you are the only person that's supposed to pull your strings. You showed up because you know that you are to control your destiny. You showed up because you've said to yourself in your heart of hearts, no one will ever pull my strings again. Give yourselves a round of applause. Come on, you can do better than that. First goal, I was determined, being adopted. Mama, yes, Leslie, when I become a man, I'm going to buy you a big, beautiful home just like this one. It's a very beautiful place. 10,000 square feet, 12-foot deep swimming pool. And I love that place. And I drove my mother in an area, a similar house. And just to test to see if she saw the beauty and the magnificence in that house that I saw. And she said, Leslie, slow down. And I said, why? She said, look at that house there. Slow down, boy. I said, yes, ma'am. And I slowed down and she said, whoa. She said, that is beautiful. She said, if I lived in something like that, I would feel like Mrs. Rockefeller. And Mrs. Rockefeller, during that day, John D. Rockefeller out of New York was a famous multi-millionaire. I said, you really like that, don't you? She said, yes. And she did not know that I decided that I was going to get that home for her. Here this woman is. She only had a third-grade education, never had any children, and she decided that she was going to adopt me, my brother, and then 5 kids later. And I found something that I love to do. I believe that you're not to work for a living, but to live your making. And living your making will make your living. Write this down. Master something you love. Whatever it is. There's a new book out called Average is Over. You want to master something that you love. I love changing lives. I love people. I love being around people. And find ways to monetize that. So I found a way, and I'm training others, how to take that which you love and how to monetize it. And we have tools to do that now better than ever before. And I decided that I was going to do what I'm doing now. But I didn't do it right away because I didn't know who I was. I allowed my story to change my life. I'll never forget a gentleman that, and many of you are familiar with my story, I eulogized him a few months ago. Young man, yes, sir, go to the board and work that problem out for me. Oh, sir, I can't do that. Why not? I'm not one of your students. Look at me, yes, sir. Go to the board and work the problem out anyhow. I can't, sir. And the other students started laughing. He's Leslie. He's got a twin brother, Wesley. His brother's smart. He's DT. What's DT? He's the dumb twin. And I said, I am, sir. And he came from behind his desk. He looked at me. He said, don't you ever say that again. Someone's opinion of you does not have to become your reality. And that was a turning point in my life. In one hand, I was humiliated. But on the other hand, I was liberated. Because he looked at me with the eyes of Goethe, who said, look at a man the way that he is, he only becomes worse. But look at him as if he were what he could be, then he becomes what he should be. And some of you here, it is your destiny to look at someone and see the greatness in them and to speak into their lives just as he spoke into my life and gave me a new vision of myself. Some of you here, that's your destiny. Some of you here, that's why you're drawn here, because that's what you're supposed to do. It said two most important days in our lives: the day we were born and the day we realize why we were born. And I realized this is why I'm here. This is what I'm supposed to do. This is why I was fired so many times. I was not in my rightful place. Mary White said in life, when you don't have enough vision or courage to know you have outgrown a situation, life will move on you. Life moved on me several times. And so, this man, he influenced my thinking and my vision of myself. And what I realized is a process to achieving your goals. So I got a picture of the house. I took a picture of the house, went back in the evening and got a picture of the house that I wanted to buy for my mother. I'm encouraging you, whatever that personal goal is, or whatever goals that you want to achieve, get a picture of it that you can see it. Why? Because our thoughts have magnetic power. According to psychologists, we think 30 to 40,000 thoughts a day. Most people never achieve their goals because they become victims of weapons of mass distractions. They're distracted by so many things. But when you get a picture and you look at it every day, and then right under that picture, I give thanks that this now belongs to me. Write it as if, you must call forth those things that be not as though they were. Write it as if it's already done. I said, I give thanks that this now belongs to me. I read it, and then I get a 3x5 card. Put the picture, what do you want, on one side with the words, I give thanks that this now belongs to me. On the flip side, right? Ask and it shall be given. Seek and ye shall find. Knock and it shall be open. Ask and it shall be given. Seek and ye shall find. Knock and it shall be open. And read it a minimum of 3 times a day. Why? Write this down. Program yourself for success. I was programming myself for the possession of this home. And I implemented a game plan to speak, to train, to coach, to generate the income. I found out how much the down payment would be. I got a contract even before I had the money. And before I knew it, implementing a plan of action, being focused every day, I was able to generate the money for the down payment and to get the house. And then I drove my mother back through that area of North Miami Beach again. And she said, Leslie. I said, yes, ma'am, Mama. Slow down, boy. There's that house again. I said, you really like that, don't you? She said, yes. I said, I think I know the people who live there. I said, let me take you there and introduce you to them. She said, you know them? I said, yes, ma'am. So I drove up the driveway. I got out. Mama was 78 at the time. I opened the door, and we started walking toward the house. And she stopped me. She said, Leslie? I said, yes, ma'am. You sure you know these people? I said, yes, ma'am, Mama. I do. They're friends of mine. So she said, okay. And we got to the door, and I couldn't hold it any longer. I took the key out. I put it in the door, turned it. I said, Mrs. Rockefeller, this is your house. She said, what are you talking about, Leslie? I said, Mama, this is yours. I bought it for you. It is fully furnished. And she looked at me. She stuck her head and said, anybody home? I said, nobody's here but us, Mama. Nobody. This is yours. And she came in. And she walked around. She said, oh, my God. Oh, my God. And Leslie, you were such a problem child. I said, I know, but I got money now. And she said, when Mr. Moss told me this lady had a set of twins, that she refused to allow them to be separated. And would I take you? I said, yes. And he drove me there. And I remember going in through the front door. It was dark, and there she was in the back. And she had this light blue blanket holding the two of you. Had shoulder-length hair like me, Leslie. I said, you did, Mama? Yes. And she looked up and she just said, are you the lady? Are you the lady to take my boys? I said, yes. You want both of them? I said, yes. She said, you promised to take good care of them? I said, yes. And she got up and she handed you over to me and she kissed you for the last time. She said, you swear? You swear you'll take good care of them? With tears coming down her face. And I said, yes. Yes, lady, yes. She never told me her name. And as I turned, and Mr. Moss said, come on now, because she might change her mind. And I said, it's okay. And as we got in the car, she said, lady! I said, yes, and my heart was beating, Leslie. Even though I only had you and your brother and mom for a short while, I felt a connection. Let us say together, connection. Connection. How many of you have had a connection with someone? Raise your hand. And she kissed you again. And Mr. Moss opened the door and I got in with you. And he drove me away. And I looked back and I just saw her just shaking her head. And nothing could have ever told me that this would happen to me. You didn't have to do this. I said, I know, Mama, but you didn't either. You didn't have to say yes. Write this down. Say yes to your dream. Yeah, yes. See, and here's what I can tell you. Don't ask yourself how. Because how is none of your business. It's none of your business. When you say yes, as I said when my mother said, I want that, I said yes. And I didn't try and figure out how I was going to do it. I violated that when it came to speaking. Because I felt, the general story is, if you have a college education, if you have a PhD, if you have a MBA, it gives you an advantage. And I'm saying if you're in the process of getting that, get that. Everybody's journey is different. But to me, what I've learned, that goal and that dream that you have, the first step to making the dream become real is to make the commitment, is to say yes, to say yes. And as a result of that, then you get started for the manifestation of that. I wish I could tell you how I was in Salt Lake City, Utah. And I don't tell you this to impress you, but to impress upon you, because I said yes. I positioned myself to earn on that evening in Salt Lake City, Utah, $260,000 in an hour and a half. Because I said yes when I was at the Seminar of the Century with T. Harv Eker, I earned $410,000 in 90 minutes. I don't tell you this to impress you. That when you say yes to life and commit yourself to do what is required, eye has not seen, ear has not heard, nor has entered the heart of mankind what God has in store for you. If both my parents stood up now and said, hi, son, I would not know either one. Here's what I know about you. When you say yes, you step into another dimension of who you are. And there are things that you're going to be able to do. There are people that you're going to attract. There are resources that will now fall in place. And there's no explanation. It doesn't fit in logic. And so there are things that happen, and it's not magical. I was willing to do the work. There's no speaker on the planet that knows as many quotes as I do. I read constantly. I encourage you to read a minimum of 30 to 40 pages of something positive every day. Why? You're programming your mind. You're overriding the head trash that's there. You're beginning to short circuit the words that you can't do that. You're getting the world out of your head. And you're opening yourself up. You're accessing. There's a power and there's a presence in you that's greater than your circumstances. That's greater than anything that you've ever gone through. Anything that you're ever facing. So many times, my friends and family members, people who should have been there to encourage me, kept saying, you ought to stop and give up that crazy idea. I ran out of money. People that would be in a position to help me, but they just said, you can't do this, Leslie. How many of you had somebody tell you that? Raise your hands, please. Mm-hmm. Study indicated if I tell you, ma'am, you can't do that, somebody else has to come along and say, you can do it, you can do it, you can do it 17 times to neutralize that one time. So that's why we have to work on our minds. Because we have the power. We have the answers in us. We have to work on ourselves. Mindset. We have to deliberately expand our skill set, your value, what it is you want. And the other thing is what we're doing right now. Create a community of collaborative, achievement-driven, supportive relationships. Write that down. Create a community of collaborative, achievement-driven, supportive relationships. Most relationships are socially driven or entertainment-driven. You want collaborative, achievement-driven, supportive relationships. That's the kind of relationship that I have with Michelle and Discerni. That's the kind of relationship that I have with Althea. It's a collaborative, achievement-driven, supportive relationship. That's the kind of relationship I have with Stacy. You're going to hear her. And so and there are people here you want to have that relationship with. Why? Because you can't make it by yourself. 72% of corporations are striking collaborative, achievement-driven, supportive relationship. I spoke at the merger of TV1. What is that? That was the one that AT&T and what's the other one? DirecTV. I spoke at that merger. The goal they brought me in for was to talk about the benefits and the value of the merger between those two entities to expand their market share. This is no time to try and do this thing called life by yourself. There's some people in here that will give you access because of my relationship with Althea. I have access to a group of people who believe in my message that I did not know. And because of her vision and her initiative and people that she worked with, you're in this room. And many of you are going to be able to create this with your collaborative, achievement-driven relationships. Can you see this now? Okay? Now, let us say together, it's possible.
It's possible.
Having a mindset that you can do this, that you can make it happen, that's key. I didn't believe it was possible for me for years. But now, because of my mindset and my preparation and my development, I speak for corporations all around the world. Let us say together, it's necessary.
It's necessary.
That when you have a goal and dream, most people don't realize that you're going to have a lot of failures. You're going to have a lot of disappointments. Things are going to happen that you can't anticipate. When you get on an airplane, before they take off, they tell you, fasten your seatbelt, because we're going to experience some turbulence before we reach a comfortable altitude. That's the same thing in life. It's the same thing in business. Fasten your seatbelt, because you're going to catch it. Things are going to happen. You're going to take some hits. And they're not there to stop you. They're there for you to learn from, to grow from. And so you have to fasten your mental and your psychological and spiritual seatbelt so that you can brace yourself to handle what comes at you. And it's coming. But when it's your passion, when it's something that you love, you don't care. I said, bring it on. That's all you got? Bring it on. Repeat after me, please. You will fail your way to success.
You will fail your way to success.
You're going to fail your way to success. I can tell you what I know. I don't care. I kept coming back. Kept coming back. Kept on knocking when I wanted to become involved in broadcasting. And it's something that strengthens you through your prayer, through your meditation, through holding the vision of what you want, through your conviction that I'm not going to be denied. I'm coming back again and again and again. Some of you are going through some stuff right now. It's all right. It's okay. You're stronger than that. You're better than that. And the key is to dig in and to know that you will fail your way to success. You cannot be the kind of person that I'll do it if. No, you've got to be the kind of person that says, I'm a no matter what person. No matter what, I'm going to make it happen. I told my mother, I'm going to buy you a home, Mama. And I bought it. I bought it. I made it happen. 4 different homes before she passed at the age of 89. Here's something that's important. You need help and assistance to get your goal to the next level. Write this down. You need someone who can see what you can't see. Someone who can see what you can't see. Mike Williams said, Leslie, yeah, man, Brownie. I had a dashiki and a big afro. You're more than a disc jockey. I am? Yes. How many of you have gone through some things? Raise your hands, please. How many of you made some mistakes that you can help other people get through? Raise your hands, please. How many of you have had some setbacks that you had to overcome? Raise your hands, please. Write this down. Knowledge is the new currency. Knowledge is the new currency. Every one of you, you've gone through some stuff. You've had some setbacks. You've had some failures. How many of you had moments in your life like me where you're temporarily insane? Raise your hands, please. Somebody raised 2 hands, all right? Hey, it's the new currency. Now, here's the great thing about it. That now you have the opportunity. It took me 3 years going from city to city, hotel to hotel, plane ride to plane ride, to get my information out there. Now, going from cassette tapes to CDs, now you are coming into the game where you don't need a product. I'm going to tell you how to get Choosing Your Future. You pay for it, and you can download it. You don't have to have it labeled. You can download the information to anybody, any place around the world. You have a global business on your telephone. That's crazy. I was at a conference, guy sold over $600,000 worth of products downloaded in his bank account in 48 hours. Shake someone's hand on your right and left and say, some of that money's got my name on it.
Some of that money's got my name on it. Definitely got my name on it.
Isn't that crazy? You know, what's good? iTunes? Yes, thank you. My apologies. Yes. So I tell a story of how I became a disc jockey. How many have ever heard the story? Raise your hands, please.
Mm-hmm.
Every day. Yeah. So that story, and I'll show you how to tell your story. That story has taken me around the world. Built $1 million business. Shake someone's hand on your right and left and say, I've got a story too.
I've got a story too.
How many ever heard the name Marianne Williamson? Raise your hand. Marianne Williamson? Marianne Williamson, she told somebody else's story. She told a story about the return to love, A Course in Miracles. All right? She didn't even tell her own story. You don't know anything about Marianne. So here's what I'm come back and I'm going to close this out. Write this down. When you speak, how many of you would like to learn how to improve your communication skills? Raise your hands, please. How many would like to be able to sell your ideas? Raise your hands, please. Very good. When you speak, this is major. People are asking 3 questions. Write this down. Who are you? I start off with my story. Why? Because people do business with people they know, like, and trust. The goal is for them to trust you, to believe in you, to have confidence in you. Who are you? Next question they're going to ask, all unconscious, what do you have? Who are you? And what do you have? You have a sense of who I am because you've heard me on YouTube and you've heard a lot of my materials. And the next thing is, why should I care? And that creates the thirst. There's a saying, you can take a horse to the water, you can't make him drink. But when you know how to communicate strategically, you can create a thirst where they want to drink. When you answer those 3 questions. And so as you think about your goals and your dreams, so it's very important, as I said, to have somebody in your life who can see what you can't see. This guy saw me being more than a disc jockey in WVKO radio station in Columbus, Ohio, more than a guy that was selling time for radio. He saw me more than a community activist. And so he saw me and had a larger vision for me. So I became a concert promoter. And so this is Michael Jackson at age 10. That's me standing in the back. This is no Photoshop. That's me standing back there. Yeah, that's Michael and his brothers. And then I was 173 pounds. I'm 200 and something now. But the thing is, I had you shake someone's hand on your right and left and say, you have greatness in you. You have no idea whose hand you just shook.
That's right. That's right.
You have no idea who you're seated next to. Eye has not seen. Ear has not heard. Nor has entered the heart of mankind what God has in store for that hand you shook, for that pulse that you felt, for that energy that's near you. Shake someone's hand on your right and left and say, bring out the millionaire in you. Bring out the millionaire in you.
Bring out the millionaire in you. Bring it out. Bring it out. Bring it out.
Yes. And that's what we're here to do. Because it's in there. We know it's in there because I only attract millionaires or millionaires in training. Give yourselves a round of applause. When I took that picture with those little guys, thank you, I didn't know who they were going to become, and they did not know who I was going to become. You have no idea that person seated next to you, who they're going to become, and they don't know who you're going to become. All right? Shake somebody else's hand and say, let's go big. Let's go big.
Let's go big. Let's go big. Big. Let's go big. Let's go big. Big.
How many would like to make a difference in your community? Raise your hands, please.
Yes.
And that's what I wanted to do. He expanded my vision of myself. I ran for the Ohio legislature. I was elected. I beat a 22-year incumbent. They said, you can't do that. You're no longer on radio. You don't have that power microphone. You can't do that. But I had another friend who went and filled out some petitions and said, Brownie, you need to run. I said, Perkins, I don't know anything about politics. He said, neither do the people who run for office.
Yeah.
He said, you encourage people to come out to vote, and you encourage people to register, people like you. You were fired because you were controversial. You were serving the community. You fought against police brutality. People will vote for you. I said, come on, I don't have the backing of the party. It doesn't matter. And the incumbent had the backing of the party, and both newspapers endorsed him. And I went to the radio station to buy time on the air. Everybody repeat after me, please. Use what you have.
Use what you have.
The station where I used to work, and the incumbent had over $45,000. I had just under $1,000. Here it is, Friday, before the election on Tuesday. And Perkins said, Brownie, go sit in that middle room where you used to sit when you came up with brilliant ideas for commercials. I'll give you 20 minutes and then use what you have, Brownie. And I went in this room and I sat down for a while and I thought, and I remember when I was on the air, I always say, this has been Mrs. Mamie Brown's baby boy. And I said, I'm going to call my mother. He said, you're going to do what? He said, just ask people to vote for you. I said, I don't feel that. Everybody say, do what you feel. I said, I'm going to call my mother. I said, Mama. She said, what is it, Leslie? I'm running for state representative. What is that mess you're in now? I said, Mama, I can't explain. I just need you to tell people from your heart to vote for me. She said, I ain't got time for that. I said, Mama, I'll give you $500. She said, you better give me my money. How about a love money? You hear me? So I said, okay, go. We have less than 1 minute. She said, hello, this is Mrs. Mamie Brown. When I raised my boys, I raised them to be good boys. When they got out of hand, I beat their behinds. Please vote for my son. He's a good boy. And I won the election, hands down. I got over 26,000 votes. Now, remember, when you have goals and dreams, yes, no. They told me stop now. No. I'll do it. I'm going to plan out. Yeah, I will do it. Yes, just a minute, please. Let me close out, okay? Yeah. But when you have goals and dreams, remember, said things happen, right? So I was elected 3 terms, and I was being positioned to run for Congress and then the Senate. And I passed 14 bills my first term. Wow. And then my sister called me, Leslie, yes. Are you sitting down? No. Is Mama all right? Leslie, listen. What is it? Is Mama all right? Mama has breast cancer, and she can't take care of herself. So, we're going to put her in a nursing home. No. We can do that. We can take care of her. Leslie, we found the best nursing home in all of Dade County. I said, no. See, I had a problem. How can one woman raise 7 kids who couldn't take care of themselves, but 7 grown people couldn't take care of one woman?
That's right.
I left Columbus immediately. I went back to Miami. And when I rung the doorbell, a friend of hers named Mildred was there, and she said, Mamie, Leslie's here. And I could hear her voice in the background said, I knew he would come. I knew he would come. How many of you have somebody you want them to know if something happens to them, you be there for them? Raise your hands, please. And how many of you like to be in a position to help them? Raise your hands, okay? Right, now, here's what I'm saying. You got to make money important. Because they didn't want to just put her in a nursing home to be me. They didn't feel that they can afford to do it. 95% of people who file bankruptcy do so because of medical expenses. And so I resigned from the Ohio legislature. I went back to take care of Mama till she was 89. That's my baby. That's it. Yeah. Wow. And I did it with my dream. I did it with my dream. And all the things that you envision, the people that you'd like to help out, the causes that you'd like to contribute to, living a greater life, it's around your dream. You were not born to work for a living, but to live your making. And living your making will make your living. Does that make sense to you? Yes. All right, now, everybody hold your right index finger up. Everybody, if you've done this with me before, do it again. Hold it up. Put it in your ear. Put it in your ear. Listen to me. Listen. You have greatness in you. You're here, but no, just listen to me. You're here because there's a higher calling on your life. You're here because there's a great work for you to do. You're here because you deserve good relationships. You deserve to live a life of meaning and value. You're here because you have the ability to create wealth. You're here because you are destined to make a difference. You're here because God has a special assignment for you. You have something special. You have greatness within you. Take your finger out. I didn't want it to go in one ear and out the other. How many of you have children? Raise your hands, please. Very good. This afternoon, I'm going to share with you, everybody say legacy building. Legacy building. So that's my oldest son on the left. That's Calvin. He's the CEO of the company. That's my youngest daughter. She's a business developer, Serena. That's John Leslie. He's a speaker and a trainer. And that's Ona, my oldest daughter. And Patrick, he's a trainer. How many of you would like your kids to be trained on how to achieve their goals and dreams? Very good. Good. Well, what time do I speak this afternoon? Yeah, you're gonna let me. I have no problems in ignoring you. I have no problem. Whatever. But have you enjoyed what you've had so far? Well,